Ben is a young man of 25 with a youthful face. He has the ability to freeze time and do what he wants. Of course, he uses it to undress women and perform his favorite activity, drawing and doing their nude portraits, but things weren't always that way for Ben. Let's see how it all started. Hello everyone. Today I will explain the film Cashback from 2006. 5 weeks earlier, Ben is seen arguing with his girlfriend Suzie, who calls him a loser. He has had enough and breaks up with her. This was Ben's first breakup. This enrages Suzie even more and she begins throwing things at her. At this point, everything is slowing down for Ben. After the breakup, Suzie quickly moves on and finds solace with another guy. Ben notices them together in the cafeteria and wonders if she ever really liked him, considering how quickly she moved on. His buddy Sharon tells him to forget about it and move on. Ben says he couldn't make her happy anyway, because she always thought the grass was greener elsewhere. So Sharon advises him to go out with a hotter girl to make her jealous. Apparently, Sharon's success with women was quite impressive. So to distract himself, Ben joins art classes. He has been interested in making portraits since childhood. He effortlessly makes beautiful paintings that surprise even the teacher. Ben specializes in making ultra-realistic human portraits. They say Ben is the best painter in the whole country. However, once night falls, things become extremely difficult for Ben. He can't stop thinking about his breakup, because every time he closes his eyes, he sees the memories of his ex-girlfriend and it's impossible for him to sleep. The days go by and Ben still can't sleep a night, even for an hour. Memories of his girlfriend turned him into a depressive maniac. Overwhelmed with regret and pain, Ben decides to call Suzie and begs her to come back. He also apologizes for ruining their relationship, promising never to do it again. But despite the fact that Ben got down for her, Suzie refuses his request and hangs up the call. After that, Ben flew into an even deeper abyss of despair. If only he could freeze time and look at breasts. Over the next few days, he does his best to pass the time. He reads books, watches movies, and even takes solo trips to other cities. However, as soon as night falls, insomnia sets in, and it becomes difficult for him to concentrate on anything else. One night, he walks to a local supermarket where he notices a job offer for night shift staff. Ben thinks this is the perfect opportunity to fill his 8 extra hours and make some money, so he immediately applies for the job. The next day, he gets an interview with manager Jenkins and ends up landing the job. Ben is finally happy after a long time and feels like his life is about to change. He gets used to his new job and notices how his colleagues handle the art of passing the time differently. The cashier Sharon makes sure to always hide the clock with various objects. She believes that time will pass more slowly if she looks at him. Then here is Barry Brickman, who is never serious at work, with his equally similar friend, Matt Stevens. They pull various pranks on the female customers, like slipping an adult toy into their bags. Some of the customers are perplexed when they find it, but some decide to keep it. The only guy who doesn't seem to care about time is their boss Jenkins. He can go on and on selling his body and his wealth. Ben has the most unusual way of passing the time. In the throes of his deep melancholy, he dissociates himself from time and reality. In other words, he uses his superpowers to freeze time and eventually his environment so he can do whatever he wants. Normally one would be tempted to steal money, but Ben just wants to hone his artistic skills because he is in awe of the female body. He chooses clients at random and gently undresses them and draws their portraits. Ben has no lustful feelings towards them, he just wants to make sure his passion for art never dies. Of course Ben, once he's finished, he puts them back on and cracks his fingers so that time begins to flow again. It's become Ben's life now. It's not something he's proud of, but at least he's not depressed or crazy anymore. Slowly but surely he began to turn away from Suzie. At home, Ben often hangs out with his best friend Sharon. The two have been together since childhood. Sharon is the exact opposite of Ben, as all he cares about is getting into girls' panties. It is revealed that he has been to every strip club in town. One night during his night shift, Ben meets cashier Sharon in the locker room. He seems to have a crush on her but doesn't have the courage to tell her about it. The two have a bit of a special time for Ben. After a while going about his work, Matt suddenly pops up from one of the stalls and reveals that he invited Sharon to the movies. This devastates Ben and wonders why he is so unlucky. He then recalls his school days when he first fell in love. She was the smartest girl in the class that everyone liked. One day she had an accident and sprained her arm, due to which she had to wear a heavy cast. Every day her classmates used to write encouraging stuff on them to make her feel better. Ben also wanted to write something, but he was too nervous to even approach her. A few days later, the girl took off her cast. Everyone was happy to see her fully recovered, but when they noticed that she had grown hair on that arm, they started laughing at her. The girl starts crying, and that's when Ben decides to come in. He takes her to a corner and consoles her, saying that he will always be there, with her, no matter what. Soon the two become good friends and eventually fall in love. One day, the girl suddenly approaches Ben and asks him if he wants to kiss her. Without thinking twice, he says yes, and the two agree to meet at their favorite weekend spot. Ben is happy because he is going to kiss a girl for the first time. He loses his sleep for the next few days, and when the weekend finally arrives, he arrives at the place early. He waits all day, but the girl doesn't come, and it breaks his heart. The next day at school, Ben finally learns that the girl has moved to another town with her parents. It was the first time he felt helpless and depressed. In the present, Jenkins gathers all of his employees and tells them that they are going to play a friendly football game with his friends. Ben and the others don't want to play. They had no other choice. During the game, the supermarket team loses heavily because neither of them knows how to play. The opposing team accelerates and scores goal after goal, making it 26-0. When Ben has had enough, he freezes time and heads to the locker room to relax. Suddenly a guy moves and runs away. This reveals to Ben that he is not the only one with this ability. After a while, he comes out and cracks his fingers. In the heat of the action, Matt shoots and Jenkins gets the ball in the face. He is immediately taken to the hospital and everyone else goes home, leaving Ben and Sharon alone. In the next scene, the two stop for coffee. Ben learns that she is in fact single and that Matt was saying wrong. She then shares her dreams with Ben and he does the same. Sharon says she always wanted to meet a painter because she imagines they can see the real beauty in things. As they talk, it's clear there's chemistry between them. After their unofficial date, Ben walks her home and awkwardly ruins their first kiss, pecking her on the cheeks when she wanted him on the mouth. The next day, Jenkins announces that he is going to throw a party for his birthday. Sharon asks Ben if he wants to come with her to the party and he happily accepts. Later, Jenkins calls the boys to his office and assigns them separate tasks for his birthday preparations. Ben is tasked with hiring a dancer at the party. He asks his best friend Sharon for help, promising to take him to the party. The two then head to a local club where Sharon uses his experience and hires a girl for the party. The next morning, Ben receives a call from an anonymous man claiming to be an art lover. He has an art gallery in town and wants to exhibit some of Ben's work there. This makes him happy because for the first time in his life someone appreciated his art. But unbeknownst to him, it turns out it was just a prank by Barry and Matt. That night, Ben dresses for the party and goes to Sharon's house. The two are heading to the party, and when they arrive the party is already underway. Sharon got kicked out by a girl, Matt and Barry are dancing like sociopaths, and Jenkins is the DJ. Just when Ben notices his ex-girlfriend Suzie among the attendees. She is now the girlfriend of Jenkins' brother. Then the dancer arrives and heats up the party, especially Sharon, who seems to have known her since childhood. Ben goes to the bathroom and meets Suzie. Wasting no time, she tells him that she wants them to reconcile and be a couple again. Well, sure doesn't want to, because he's already met the love of his life, but Suzie keeps insisting. She even kisses her forcefully. Ben pushes her away immediately, but when he turns around he realizes that Sharon witnessed the whole incident and she runs away. Ben goes straight to Sharon's apartment and tries to explain everything to her, but she is too blinded by his anger. When she starts throwing obscenities, Ben gets upset and leaves. Because of the new breakup, Ben plunges back into his world of depression and insomnia. He has just lost the girl who took him out of his dark world. In the next scene, Ben goes with some of his best art to the show gallery. But the gallery owner denies having made an appointment with him, making Ben realize that he got tricked by Barry and Matt. As he is about to leave, the owner notices some of his sketches of Sharon and asks to take a look. Unsurprisingly, he loves them and Ben is offered a night to exhibit his work in the gallery. A few days later, Sharon receives an official invitation to Ben's art show. Although she is angry with him, she decides to visit the gallery. When she arrives, she is surprised to see that the artwork depicts her. It turns out that Ben stopped doing portraits of other women and he spent all his time on Sharon. She was the love of his life and he couldn't look at any woman other than her. But how does he know exactly what my suckles look like? Ben tries to explain what happened the night of the party, but Sharon says he doesn't have to. She's now realized how much he loves her just by looking at her paintings. The two share a romantic kiss right in the middle of the art gallery room. In the final scene, Ben uses his powers and freezes everything. However, this time, even Sharon can move around the freeze world. The two then walk out into the snow where millions of snowflakes hang in the air. Finally, the lovebirds kiss once more and the film ends on a happy note.